Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Big Ideas Pitch event. I'm Lee Veerstrom, an innovation strategist with the Rocket MMSD Innovation Team. I will be serving as your moderator today during today's event, but I will also have two people supporting. So Nathan Beck, who is our liaison between MMSD and the City of Madison, is going to be checking and monitoring the chat. And asking each team up to 2 questions. And then Grady Brown, a member of the Research Program Evaluation Office, is our Zoom master today. Just a big shout out to them for supporting me in this event. So we are so excited to spend the next 2 hours together hearing about your ideas and celebrating the 20 semifinalists. We have been given an opportunity of a lifetime to redefine, unite, and rebuild Madison Public Schools as we navigate through multiple pandemics. Thanks to the ESSER II grant, MMSD has been able to create this Big Ideas opportunity to harness the bold, creative, and strategic ideas from our staff, from our students, and our community members. We are so thankful that we have been able to harness and lift up your voices and the voices of our community. So thank you for everything today. We have an amazing panel of judges today. I would like to give them a huge shout out for taking the time on a Saturday morning to celebrate all of your work. I would like to especially thank our student judge for being an incredible leader and for bringing the student perspective to the judges panel. All right, so let me introduce all of our judges. So we have Dr. Carlton Jenkins, our superintendent and fearless leader here in Madison. Cindy Green, the executive director of secondary programs. Jay Affelt, the director of student services. Angela Fitzgerald Ward, who is the director of family, youth, community engagement. Josh Forehand, the principal at Nuestro Mundo Elementary School. Tony Gennaro, a bilingual social studies teacher at La Follette High School. Alyssa Panoir, a 5th grade teacher at Folk Elementary. And Liliana Sims, our 11th grade student at La Follette High School. I also would like to welcome our Madison community members all across Madison. They have come to listen to your ideas and give feedback. We have community members from the City of Madison, Dane County, the Boys and Girls Club, the Goodman Center, the Madison Children's Museum, Root to Rise, Just Dane, and American Family Insurance's Institute for Corporate and Social Impact and the Foundation for Madison's Public Schools. So welcome, thank you for joining us this morning. All right, quickly, I'm going to talk about some logistics. So each team will have 3 minutes to pitch. We know it's short, but through this week, seeing their practices and their pitch decks, we know it's going to happen. Y'all are amazing. Nathan Beck will be monitoring the chat, and then teams will have up to 2 minutes and 2 questions that come from the audience. Community stakeholders, remember to use your feedback form that was emailed. It's also in your calendar invite to give your input on each of the ideas. Your feedback will help the judges select the 10 final ideas. Now get excited because we know this is a long event, 2 hours on Zoom, and for the judges even longer. So I have some giveaways to just keep the energy high today. So randomly throughout this event, we are going to give some prizes away. So how you are eligible for a prize is asking a question in the chat, or you can shout at us and MMSD through social media. So Instagram, Twitter, tag MMSD. If you want to tag Rocket MMSD, I would also be so happy. But use that hashtag MMSD's Big Ideas.
Leah, breaking news.
Oh.
Hey, we recognize everyone, but our fearless leader who's brought us to this point, Leah, and the job she's doing. Let's give her a big hand.
Thank you.
The energy starts with you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here. So I do want to give a bunch of thank yous. For this event to happen, we couldn't do it without all of you. Your ideas, your energy, your passion, your excitement, the time you put into this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also need to shout out MMSD Budget and Accounting, Grants, Building Services, and Legal for their support in making sure that your ideas actually can come to life. The design team that put this together, I would be remiss without thanking them for their hours that they have put into supporting this, to scoring, to bringing this forward. They've been amazing. To our community members in attendance and not in attendance, huge thank you. Up to 30% of our ideas came from our community, and we just want to give them a shout out. I want to thank the American Family Insurance's Institute for Corporate and Social Impact, the Dream Bank, MMSD Human Resources, and of course my colleagues at Rocket for providing some really great prizes and giveaways. Dr. Jenkins, we got to thank you. You trusted us in this process. You allowed this to happen. You gave us the ability to harness the voices of our community, and our students and our staff. So thank you.
Thank you. And I will say, Leah, this is about our philosophy of putting the community in the schools and the schools in the community, and just trusting our students and staff and our parents and just our entire community. So I'm excited that you guys have taken this and run with it way beyond my imagination. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Let's see these big ideas. So we're going to start with our first team and first idea, Recess Revolution, which is MMSD elementary schools and a host of other community members. Kia Carlin, you are up.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Kia. I'm from Madison Children's Museum, and I'm presenting our big idea together today with Overture Center, Madison Circus Space, and Arts for All Wisconsin. Thank you for the opportunity to pitch today. The problem? Well, what about that last year? We know that this pandemic has taken a heavy toll on our children. I could have filled this whole slide deck with research citations, but you're all experts. You've seen it. The effects of isolation and screen saturation on kids over the past year. With that, we bring you our big idea. It's a recess revolution, a joyful infusion of outdoor play and circus arts for all abilities. Our team has a long history of collaboration through the Any Given Child Madison initiative. Together with MMSD Arts Coordinator, Peter Kuzma, we've been working for years to support arts-rich schools and equitable access to field trips and artist residencies. Research shows that play and recess and circus arts are all more than just fun. They're fundamental to social emotional development and wellness. And we know that Madison is blessed with an embarrassment of riches in arts and culture, but we also know that MMSD students and families just aren't participating at the same rate as students from private and suburban schools. So Recess Revolution will serve all children at all grade levels at all elementary schools. We'll launch an exciting combination of outdoor active play, school playground enhancements, and circus arts with teaching artists from Overture and Madison Circus Space. All of this will be supported by Arts for All's expertise on inclusion for children with disabilities. Recess Revolution includes sidewalk surprises, transforming underused pavement with games that support classroom learning, consultation with exhibit designers on enhancing school playgrounds and outdoor classrooms, field trips for all elementary students to Madison Children's Museum, including our new outdoor play space, the Wonder Ground, 4th and 5th grade circus arts with field trips to Overture performances and in-school residencies with Madison Circus Space. All of this with accessibility, training, and consultation with Arts for All. Evaluation will be directed by Dr. Peter Wardrop at UW-Madison. Our hope is to truly spark a recess revolution by demonstrating that these fun activities have a lasting positive impact on our students. We believe that this one-time infusion of funding can spark a long-lasting new approach to play-based learning. Our total request is $208,000. There's so many great projects being pitched today. We hope you can find a way to fund them all. Fund them all. Today happens to be my birthday, and nothing would make me happier on my birthday than for you to give this gift of joy, delight, and learning to the children of Madison. So I thank you for your consideration.
Wow, Kia. So first, happy birthday and props for going first.
Thanks.
You I think made everybody else feel at ease. So kudos to you. We have up to 2 questions. Can you talk a little bit about how you might scale this? So you're thinking small, but talk for just a little bit about scaling.
Sure. We have Lakeview and Hawthorne ready to be our pilot schools for the fall semester. And so we'll be able to test all of these models, as well as testing out assessment that is meaningful, but not time consuming for teachers in particular, work out all of that this fall semester. And then we'll have 3 following semesters to get each of the other 30 schools, into maybe we might do 10 schools per semester. We might decide in spring of next year to maybe only do 6 or 8 and then go big the following year. But I'm really glad that you've included a pilot period to work small scale.
That's great. And one other question is, how will you engage parents in Recess Revolution? And that is from Letitia from Goodman Community Center.
Yes, that's a great question, because at the Children's Museum, we are all about that, and Overture is as well, that field trips aren't just a one and done just with students and teachers. So some of the built-in supports we have for this, for instance, all 13,000 kids, when they have their field trip to the Children's Museum, will get a free pass for a family visit to return. Similarly, the Overture and Circus Space programming will include ways to reach out. And what we found at the museum is, and I think it's true at Overture as well, we have really good access programs. Families can get in for free, can get in for $1, can get to an Overture show for very little money. And once a family's hooked and sees the value of engaging with our organizations, we can really build long-term engagement with families.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Up next, we have the Anti-Racist Teaching Institute, Sandburg Elementary. So pitching today will be Ashley Painter.
Thank you. And in a moment before I begin, I would like to share a story about the student on this slide, Maite, who is actually here on the Zoom and is open to questions as well at the end. Maite, I don't know if you can wave, but I wanted to acknowledge who's here. Okay. Equity and anti-racism are core values of MMSD, calling on educators to discover, disrupt, and dismantle racism in all of its forms. There are hundreds of Black and Brown students identified as advanced learners in the leadership domain who are not receiving services. This is a gap. In order to more fully live out our values, and in collaboration with CNI and Advanced Learning, we want to take the anti-racist teaching resources from MMSD to the next level and create a leadership pathway for these identified students through collaborative planning of units that culminate in civic action projects. We want to be the school on the front lines of the dismantle category. Our big idea is to involve students in the curriculum in significant ways to drive learning that results in anti-racist civic action. We will do the following 3 things in order to achieve this. 1, define student leadership and civic action goals. 2, bring students and teachers together to collaboratively plan the direction of their learning. 3, evaluate, refine, and apply newly gained understandings about this process. In our budget, we are asking for $200,000 to support this work. So now imagine, we invite a group of students who we know have leadership skills to join as equal paid participants to a summer institute. Students and teachers look at upcoming units, design an engaging unit launch, and co-plan potential civic action projects. When the school year starts, these students will be positioned as key leaders in classroom learning and will shift from passive participants to the drivers of teaching and learning. Throughout the year, students and teachers will have structured time to continue this work and reflect on and adjust the process. We believe the impact of this work will profoundly change teacher practice, school culture, and have scalable potential for the district. More importantly, we want to focus on the impact this will have on students. Students will see themselves in the curriculum, resulting in an increase in their sense of self-efficacy, overall engagement, and academic measures. A few times Sandberg has caught lightning in a bottle, like when fourth graders partnered with the Ho-Chunk community to write books to address underrepresentation in children's literature. In third grade, Maite, who's here with us now, right after the 2016 election as a part of a unit on immigration, wanted to learn more about why some people have negative stereotypes about immigrants. As a result of her learning, she chose to create a podcast series with the goal of changing people's perceptions about immigrants by sharing their stories. Given structure and space, Maite was a change maker. There are hundreds of students just like Maite waiting for us to create the space to share their brilliance. Our students cannot wait any longer. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. We got a couple of questions. First, can you talk a little bit about what are the indicators of success for this program? How would you know that you're successful?
I'm going to have my principal jump in on this one.
And I would say, if he's having trouble unmuting, I would say that we will look at a few things. There are measures that we can look at in terms of student self-efficacy. We can track the level of of civic engagement and the projects that they complete. And we can look at survey data. We would like to talk to the students and see what they're learning and how they're thinking about applying their literacy skills to something that has meaning and relevance outside the school walls. We think that those will be powerful indicators of success for the program.
Well said.
Great. We're going to do a quick bonus question and then I'll go to the next. What's the name of the podcast? A couple folks are wanting to know.
It's Immigration Journeys. We have one linked here, their first one, and then there's other podcasts that go along with it. And just to acknowledge Maite, she called me last night to work on this and in the morning. So I just really, that's pretty remarkable. We were on the phone at 7 this morning. So
on a Saturday morning, I love it. Okay, a lot of great questions. The last one will be, can you share a bit more on how this will extend beyond the Summer Institute and planning? You mentioned it would extend into the school year. How will students continue to be a part of this curriculum building?
So correct. So after the initial Summer Institute, what we're doing, part of the funding will go to provide teachers and students on a weekly basis to have an hour of coverage so they can continue the planning. And then on a quarterly basis, have a couple hours together to reflect on the success of the unit and to start to see how we measure up, referencing some of the indicators that Ren just referenced.
And so real quick,
yeah.
Maite, can we hear from you? Do you feel comfortable?
Hi.
Hi. Maite, really quickly, because it's a big deal and I know we're short on time, but do you want to speak to maybe why it was important for you to do a project like that?
Well, personally, I felt the importance of participating in a project like this because at home, my parents are immigrants, and growing up, that was like really talked about a lot while we had like family reunions and stuff. So when I had an opportunity to do something like this, I took it and I did it with my friends, so it was even better.
And thank you, Maite. I don't know if your parents are there, but gracias a sus padres por todo también. Thank you, Maite.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you. Thank you, Maite, for joining and for your great presentation, Sandberg. So next up, our third idea is virtual therapy. Jack Jackson from La Follette High School.
Right. Good morning, everyone. Let me get my screen here. All right. So Before I do get started, I just want to say thank you to everybody that had their hand in this big idea. I think regardless of the outcome, the biggest part of this is how much it's going to benefit our students. And that's why we all are here, to help our students and engage in learning. So good luck to everybody else. And again, thank you for this opportunity. So with virtual therapy or even virtual support, we've realized that this year, this past year and a half has been very tough on students. So so reading from the slides here, a lot of students in particular, within my 4 years of being in the district, they do lack the confidence and experience to approach traumatic situations alone. Even as adults, we sometimes are a little bit more fearful in the experiences that we go through on how we're going to overcome them. So my idea is that students need access to support in a way that makes them feel most comfortable. And depressive symptoms in these adolescents have increased by 52% in the past year alone. So over doubled. Just under 70% of teens do have mental health issues that they're currently seeking therapy for. And my school in particular, just over half of the students do not feel as if they feel welcomed in their school. They do not feel as if they belong. So going over a quick scenario here, a student by the name of Jessie, a sophomore at La Follette High School, has a little bit of a hard time making friends. She's not necessarily an all A student. She's passing most of her classes, kind of right in that average B's and C's as far as grades. They're also struggling with making connections with teachers and other school staff. And they're struggling at home as changes are always going on in her household. So my, again, idea is to allow students to have virtual therapy. Students may feel a little less connected to school staff if they're not, engaging with them, if they're a little bit too shy or maybe intimidated to reach out to a counselor or teacher for help. There's a company by the name of X2AI, which is a telehealth service. Students like Jessie will have the ability to text a phone number right from their cell phone, of course, and be able to engage in real conversation with a chatbot. This chatbot will look for certain words in particular. So if there's any mention of suicide or abuse, this artificial intelligence chatbot will contact a real life therapist so they can intervene. And this virtual therapy will be offered to our low income students as a pilot at La Follette High School. And those students will be offered this option as they may not have insurance or funds to cover mental health treatment, support, and prevention from their parents. Some of our numbers, just over 850 students at La Follette are considered low income currently. And the attendance for this past school year is just under 90%. And of course, 95% of our students have a cell phone. So if Jessie doesn't have a connection with many people at school, and they're maybe not sure who to talk to about their mental health, if their family does, again, lack that insurance due to COVID, and they can't afford any therapy, Jessie may not have any options. So if I were meeting with Jessie, I would explain to her, maybe it could be a good time to build that relationship with her parents. But if she's not necessarily feeling comfortable, she may want to talk to somebody at school. And again, if that intimidation is still there, at that point, we would offer her the option to use the X2AI program right from their phone, so they can meet privately with this chatbot and potential therapist that can help them go with what they're going through. So again, some more data on this. Within the past year, I don't have an exact date, but X2AI ran a pilot for certain Wisconsin residents. And during that pilot, over 8,600 people accessed their service, and over 500,000 messages were exchanged. And by the end of the pilot, the program helped de-escalate over 230 suicides, ideations. Nearly 25% had the same results as if they were talking to a traditional therapist. And there's other companies that are using this, such as United Way and AARP. And with this information, it's pretty evident that there is a lot of tracking that this program can do, so we can see the results before we push this out to a grand scale. To be quite honest, I don't have an exact number as far as budgeting. This budget will not exceed $500,000. And the reason I don't have this budget is because this this idea depends so much on another company to partner with us. From my research, the range for pricing can be from anywhere between $5 and $80 per student. Again, based on conversation I had, if American Family paid for traditional telemedicine for its employees, it would cost over $11 million to achieve the same results. Obviously, we have a lot more students in our district, so starting with the low-income students at La Follette should not exceed the $500,000 mark. But I think that outside of the budget, our mental health is much more important for all of our students. With this proposed budget, there's no materials needed, no training, and no additional staffing. And all we need is just supportive staff to help our low-income students offer this to them as an alternative.
All right, thank you, Jack, on such important work. This question was asked by Dr. Linda Vicunta, Deputy Mayor, and DJ Elliott. This is similar to an EAP program. What can we do to educate staff on how best to use this kind of service? So how can we educate staff, and how do you reach the hard to reach students?
It's as far as reaching the staff, I think we have to look at a common goal. I think we have to understand that academics come first, but school is sometimes much, maybe a little bit farther down on a student's priority. We have to be there for the students in any way that they need us. Again, academics being important, mental health is just as important when it comes to students needing that. So speaking with student services and teachers and making sure that they know that this is just an alternative for those students that may not feel comfortable talking with adults in person. And then I'm sorry, the second part of that question.
I think you did a good job of answering how do you connect, both educate staff and reach hard to reach students. The other question that we have, your last question is there experience for doing this with young people rather than with adults? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Within my conversation I've had, it's the only results I have are for adults. So I don't have any results on any adolescents and how that would work. But with a program like this and students being so attached to their cell phones, I think it's a good idea that students can connect directly from their phones. I worked in 4 years in a district, I can't remember one student not having a cell phone, not having text messaging. But for those that don't, again, there's other options that could be available for them. So I do not have any data right now on the impact it could have with students versus adults.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
All right, so our first giveaway, drum roll, please. We have the Let's Talk About It book that has been such an amazing addition to our community to celebrate all of the murals that were put up on State Street and around the city. This is being given by American Family Insurance's Institute for Corporate and Social Impact. And the winner of this book goes to DJ Elliott. Thank you so much. I will reach out via email to get your address to send this to you. All right, up next, we have participatory budgeting that is going to impact Hegel, Toki, and Memorial. So Luke Homan, you are up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for allowing us to present this idea. It's really, truly exciting to see all of these big ideas. We know that there is a massive wealth gap between white people and people of color. And we know that COVID and the pandemic has made this gap worse. And if you think that all this causes is a difference in money, then the research shows otherwise. Research shows that if you correlate economic equality with health and social problems, the more unequal the society, the worse it performs on every known dimension. The United States is the world's most unequal country. We perform the worst on such measures as trust among citizens, obesity, homicides, incarceration rates, infant mortality. I find this completely abhorrent and unacceptable. correlated with this, we see a massive plunge in the trust in our democratic institutions. We see young millennials saying that it's no longer appropriate to live in a democracy. We want to solve this. We want to get to the root. And we teach kids how to manage money by giving them money to manage. The process is known as participatory budgeting. It's endorsed by the United Nations, used at many schools throughout the US and around the world. It proceeds in 5 distinct stages in which students plan their event. They create ideas, they refine them into proposals, they vote, and the student selected ideas are implemented. We support that process through a standards aligned curriculum and an integrated, easy to use software platform that is both multilingual and designed to run on any device that those students have access to. The student experience is among something like this. Let's say a student is walking to classes and they are suddenly rained on and they're like, man, I wish I had something to fix this. Their idea is to build a covered walkway. And there are a lot of good ideas. And so they hope that it becomes voted on and implemented. And if it is, the students chose that covered walkway and the students get the benefit. Our proposal for the pilot is to include 3 schools, an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school. Each school will be allocated $7,000, and that is what the students control. We would allocate $4,000 for software and technical assistant. Let's listen to some of the principals of these schools.
Hi, everyone. My name is Angie Montpass, and I'm the principal at Eagle Elementary School. I support this participatory budgeting project for our elementary students because I believe our students are eager to have more of an authentic voice about what happens in their school. Giving voice to their ideas and then seeing those ideas in action is a powerful way to teach our students that they're capable of making positive change in their world.
Hey everyone, my name is Kyle Walsh and I'm the principal of Toki Middle School. I support this project because if we're serious about authentically centering student voice, what better opportunity than through participatory budgeting?
Now, our request is for a $25K pilot and eventually $385,000 for all of MMSD. Please note that the massive part of the budget, or the bulk of the budget, is for the student-controlled budgets. And we have found that these dollar amounts are appropriate for the different kinds of schools. We also believe that we can engage community partners by increasing those budgets given to the students to create a greater impact. In terms of our fees, they're $350 a student, and therefore each school would require a student-controlled budget, a teacher to help lead the program, and of course, each school would benefit from community partner implementation coaches that would help the students build out their proposals and make sure that they're desirable, viable, feasible, and sustainable. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We got one question right here for you. First, how are you going to decide who are the students that will make these decisions?
Well, we prefer that the entire school is engaged. We have found that we can get to 70 to 80% engagement rates, and the students will decide that. Some schools elect a student leadership body, so they're kind of coaching the other students, but we want every student to be engaged. And with our software platform, there's literally no reason why every student can't be engaged.
Great, and another question from Dr. Erica Turner. Why use a private corporation to do participatory budgeting?
Because we're faster, cheaper, and more experienced. I've been producing participatory budgeting in the public and private sector for more than a decade. I've helped cities around the world and schools around the world and corporations around the world implement this. So we're a solution built for this. We're a public benefit corporation with the stated public benefit of increasing financial literacy in underserved communities.
Thank you so much, Luke. Great presentation.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, up next. So team 5 is Mission Possible, the telepresence idea that is connected to MMSD special education. Anna Cliff, you are up.
All right, just want to make sure my sound was on. Can you all see it?
We can.
All right. All right, thank you so much for letting us pitch this idea. We're very excited about it. It's very near and dear to our hearts. The title of this is called Mission Possible, Robots Making School Possible from Anywhere. My name is Anna Cliff. I'm a program support teacher for assistive technology in the district. I'm also a special ed teacher and an occupational therapist by background and an assistive technology specialist. There are some people that could not be here today, but are huge in the process and the support of this work. Brenda O'Connell is a certified occupational therapy assistant who has been on the ground with some students working with robots, and Eric Benedict, an instructional technology coach. And it goes without saying that we have many MMSD families and students that are a part of this work as well. All right, so what's the gap? We know there are MMSD students that are not currently accessing school. We have approximately 20 homebound students in our district currently. We have a very limited amount of homebound teachers, and homebound teachers cannot facilitate the full classroom experience. We also know homebound students and families are often reporting that they feel very isolated and disconnected from their schools. And peers in the schools often don't even know when a student or a homebound student is a member of their school community. MMSD also has a variety of alternative settings in which students could use robot technology. We have a hospital school, we have students who are incarcerated, shelters, or mental health facilities that we see this project going even further. So what if we could use robots to facilitate better learning outcomes for all students? All right, so getting a little glimpse of what we already are doing in Madison. So for any student that's in need, we will use robots as that interface to provide inclusive school experiences that can be accessible anywhere. Students can create relationships, stay connected, feel valued, and have choice in how they learn, all while navigating a robot around their school environment. So how we're going to measure success? We're going to work with families. We're going to do interviews, surveys with students, families, school staff. We have a lot of district data that we can use from IEPs, 504s, Infinite Campus attendance records. Double Robotics, the company we want to use to order robots, which we already use in our district, has a fleet management tool to check in with call logs, troubleshooting, analytics of the devices, ongoing follow-up reports, collaborations with multiple staff, looking at the cost analysis of our homebound services and what we would save there. Classroom teachers, getting their feedback about how easy it is to use the technology, looking at the overall learning outcomes of our students, and also looking at the membership of our robot trainers and our robot buddies that we'd hope to include in the program. So what's our big idea? How are we going to make this possible? We're going to increase that fleet of robots on the mission. We're going to grow the AT department team of trainers so we can set up more robots for student success. We really would love to have a district space to store, demo, and train. We have a really great assistive technology inventory that we'd love to add to that, so even more tools to access. We think this will decrease costs associated with homebound services, and it'll support the overall well-being of our students. So our ask, we have a total budget here listed. We're going to start with 8 robots in 2021 and increase to a total of 12 robots. And then sustainability after that, we would just rotate 4 robots that maybe are too old out of our system and put 4 more in each year. We know the initial investment is going to save MMSD in the long term because it'll significantly reduce homebound teacher costs. It'll decrease wait time for access to services for students, and it'll ultimately increase the meaningful engagement of some of our most vulnerable student populations. Those additional bonus asks that we are hoping are free asks, but locating a larger space for training and assistive tech equipment inventories, and having volunteers to help assemble and support the initial setup and testing of the robots. And again, here's our detailed budget that lays out all of the different positions if people had more questions. Thank you so much for your time.
Wow, Anna, this is not an idea that I was expecting to hear. How creative and innovative, and also really important work. Can you tell us a little bit more? Like, is this happening in other school districts, and what are people learning from it when they try it?
Yeah, so great question. I am a member of the AT Forward project with the Department of Public Instruction. And so I'm very aware that it's happening in schools across the state. Green Bay Public Schools uses it, Wausau schools. The outcomes are very positive and the feedback is very positive about access. I mean, you could see in those videos, the quick videos, the pictures of families so happy and families in tears just having their child attend school that never thought they could. So we've had a lot of great success and proven success in our own district already.
Great. Are there any bandwidth or access challenges that you would anticipate?
This is an interesting question because we already have 2 robots in our district that we have deployed right now. And we did have some issues in the beginning with some of the networking, just with all the other devices that have come onto the networks, but our techs have been really big and on board on that. And we've solved those issues. Like any technology, we have some glitches every now and then, but we have a detailed setup and process for how we troubleshoot and fix those really quickly and have backup plans for students if the robot is for some reason not charged or it would need to have a second option.
Fantastic. Thank you, Anna, so much for your presentation. So up next, we have Black Girl Magic, which is going towards MMSD elementary schools and East Feeder schools. So Rosa Thompson, you are up.
All right. Uh-oh, my video is not working. Here we go. Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Rosa Thompson, and I'll be presenting today about the Black Girl Magic programs and expanding to a more comprehensive approach across the elementary and middle schools and a little bit in the high schools. My collaborators, they couldn't be here today, but they're Patrice Hutchins, Color Coded, KLJ Movement, and the Black Girl Magic Committee. All right, so out of an estimated 1,600 Black and multiracial girls in MMSD elementary and middle schools, over 50% of them don't feel like they belong, don't feel valued, and don't feel like their culture is represented in our schools. What does it sound like when Black girls feel validated and affirmed? An email received by one of our Sister Circle leaders, who is a biomedical engineer from a 7th grade girl, is a perfect example. Hi, Ms. James. My name is Janai, and I was in your Sister Circle on April 12th. I really like STEM, and I want to be a scientist when I get older, but I haven't picked what area of science I want to study yet. I was researching about being a biomedical engineer for a class, and I think I'm really interested. I would really like to learn more about your career, Janaya. Our goal with Black Girl Magic programs is to continue to support girls like Janaya, to validate and affirm their interests, and to provide guidance and support from positive Black role models like Ms. James, so that they can feel like they belong, that they're valued, and that they're represented in this school district. The way that we're going to do that is with the Black Girl Magic comprehensive approach, which has 4 parts. The first part is summer enrichment. The summer enrichment program will remove the top barriers to enrichment opportunities, which are affordability, transportation, and program capacity, by providing high-quality programming for Black girls and reserving space in local programs. Our second part is the Black Girl Magic groups with the curricular guide and training. This will provide guidance and support to MMSD staff and community facilitators on best practices for facilitating asset-based affinity groups in all elementary and middle schools. The third is a pilot program, a Bridge to 9th grade program, which is a holistic mentorship program to support 9th grade transition for 20 Black and multiracial girls at East, who will be identified by their 8th grade social workers and counselors. And then finally, the Black Girl Magic Conference is a culmination of all learning and community building in the elementary and middle schools throughout the school year. So we already know that the Black Girl Magic programs work. We've run them since 2018. We see our participants return each year. We receive emails from families and the girls asking when the next events will occur, and we have strong support from Black women in the community. But we want to expand our programs to continue to support girls like Janaya and the 5th grader quoted on this slide, who said that attending the Black Girl Magic Conference made her feel like there's over 100 me's. Like I'm looking into a bunch of mirrors and seeing myself through those mirrors, but with many different personalities and traits. So you can see the funds that we're asking for, but I really would like to highlight that the Black Girl Magic programs thrive with community support, such as community space for enrichment programs and family engagement, and community facilitators and enrichment partnerships. Our girls are not just Sherman girls or Orchard Ridge girls, they are the Madison community's children. And if we want them to reach their potential, we need to pour our resources into a population that is often ignored and marginalized. We need to give our girls everything they are asking for. We are asking you to invest in our girls by helping us to be setting our girls on the path to success. They want it, they need it, and they thrive when they have access to Black Girl Magic programs. Thank you.
Rosa, thank you so much. What a powerful presentation and what a powerful quote from that young person. That's going to stick with me for a long time. Really, really important work. I ask a question about, you talk about some community partners. Can you talk about how and who you've engaged and who you might engage as you expand other community partners?
Sure, yes. So right now, all of our Black Girl Magic programs are run through the support of community sponsors. All of our funds come from organizations like American Family Dream Bank, UW, Quartz Health, Meritor, GHC, big organizations like that. We also partner with many community women to have mentors. We partner with mental health organizations to bring in our circle leaders. When we did sister circles this fall and this spring, we really placed an emphasis on mental health and bringing in women who were trained in mental health therapy, circle facilitators and educators. And we really want to connect the girls to not just the community, but also Black women in our school district from around all the schools, so that they really know that there are people who support them, not just at their schools, but in the community and at other schools.
That is great. Appreciate that. And a question from Shayna and Megan Lyman from the county and a few others. Let me scroll up to find it. So how many girls are you currently serving? And with this additional funding, how will you increase that, or what will be different?
Yes. So currently with our sister circles, which we just started this year as a virtual transition, we had to cap it at 200. We wanted to keep the girls in smaller groups. So we had 20 circle leaders. There was about 10 girls in each group to really give them that support. As we are wanting to expand, the circles will be at every elementary and middle school. Every year we get asked how to set up groups at different schools. And we really want to take the people who have been doing girls groups well in MMSD and really have them train people so that this can be universal across the district and not just based on whatever school you feed into. And also so that it doesn't stop at the elementary school and continue through the middle school. The Black Girl Magic Conference is open to all 4th through 8th grade girls across MMSD. And we've this year are expanding to any school in the state. So we'll have girls from all across the state. And it really just gives them a time to collaborate with other girls, to really know that they're not alone in, in their identity development and feeling like, they're the only ones, similar issues, and just having someone to talk to. And like the little 5th grader said, knowing that there's other girls who look like them who have similar experiences.
And I'm just going to note a question from Dr. Jenkins and Dr. Linda Vicunta from the city about maybe you need some more money. And so hopefully we can think about that too.
That would be great. That'd be great. I'll work with the county.
Thank you so much, Rosa, for your presentation. All right, so we are here for another giveaway. MMSD HR has provided pens, mugs, and all sorts of MMSD swag. And so the winner of this giveaway is Erica Turner. Congratulations. I will reach out via email to get your address. All right, next up, we have The Pursuit of Sunshine, which is from a West High School student group. And Nomi, you are up.
Thank you. Let me just screen share quickly. Hi, so I am Noemi. I am a junior at Madison West High School, also the director and founder of In Pursuit of Sunshine, an pre-existing organization at Madison West. I will list my collaborators later. You will meet them later. So right off the bat, we are asking for $28,000 to start a gardening club to promote community engagement, food sovereignty, and have need-based scholarships. This is the problem that I see. We have a lack of education around growing food, especially in urban schools, as well as activism is definitely considered a privilege at our school because we don't have many paid positions to be an activist. And I personally think that food sovereignty is a way to become an activist. So here's our idea. As you can see, we kind of have a mission statement at the top of our slide, as well as this is how our program we hope will grow. And we also hope that the program will grow beyond this 1 year that we are asking for these funds for. So our program will last from January to August, in which students will work with mentors from Rooted Wisconsin to develop their own projects. This is very much a student-driven, student-based project or program. And students will also have access to a lot of our community partners. So you can see that there's a lot of ample room for planning and for speakers to come in. So this is our community so far. As you can see on the left, we have all of our community partners that are actually a part of this project in specific. We have a lot more for the organization that is pre-existing. In Pursuit of Sunshine is a pre-existing organization who has already created community gardens, as well as rain gardens, community events, and has been working I would say we've been working pretty hard in the community for the past 2 years. I created this organization with the 4 other students in this photo up here in 2018, and we don't really have any, now we have a faculty advisor, but it was really just something that we wanted to do and we were passionate about. And we also think that that passion will come through in this project in the future as well. And also our community is not limited to these specific collaborators pictured on the slide as well. We have a lot more, we have a much larger community. Those are just the ones that have just jumped on board in the past 2 days. So how will we measure success? So there's a lot of ways that we can measure success. I think there's a lot of quantitative ways, such as participation, how many students we can get to participate, how many students will participate without the need-based scholarship, even if that's something that they do need or they have to rearrange things for. Definitely how many projects are done, the community partners, the magnitude of the projects. And also if the project can be expanded to other schools. We have a statement at the bottom here from a student from La Follette High School who would love to see this in La Follette High School as well. So we are really just starting with West and seeing how far it will grow, no pun intended. And this is our success so far. So I think, we have a lot of connections. We have a connection to the Ho-Chunk Nation, which will kind of keep us grounded and will remind us of the land that we are on and the land that Madison is built on, as well as our projects that we have so far. And as you can see pictured at the top, we have our website. And yeah, we also have a pledge from the Madison West Collaborative that can help us in providing information about and statistics about food security in our area, as well as providing funds and contacts. So again, here's our ask. We are asking for 5 students to be compensated at $15 an hour so that we are not exactly competing with other jobs, 10 hours a week and 10 weeks. This is about how much we are asking for, $28,000 to supply for these students. Of course, anybody can join our club. We just won't be able to provide the scholarship for them. Our community asks, we have a very large community already, and we want to thank our community already for all the participation that they have had. We have had funding in the past, but really it's just the community that has believed in our mission and believed in us. And that's the reason why we have been able to do so much and make the impact that we have. So yeah, if you have really anything helps, if you have seeds that you collect in your kitchen, send them over to us, cuttings from farms especially, and very much so your support is very important to us, being a guest at our events. Yeah, so thank you so much for letting me present.
Thank you for presenting. I want to note first, there was an offer from Dr. Jenkins wants to connect. So you should take him up on that. It's really important work. A quick question for you. Is there a way to engage younger students too in this kind of work?
Absolutely. So that's another thing that we wanted to address and I didn't address in the presentation was that this is specifically for high school students because that's our community so far. And this is just kind of a trial run of what we can do in West, but we would love to expand it to younger students. We also encourage our participating students to work with other elementary school students.
Nice, thank you. And can you talk a little bit more about what exactly club members will be doing?
Absolutely. So mainly we are working with Rooted Wisconsin, so that will be creating their own community gardens, creating community events. The planning stages will be in the more winter months so that we're not growing plants. And it is whatever they want to make out of it. Of course, that has to be fitting within our mission, and we will have the mentors to back them up. For example, it could be creating a community garden, or it could be going into an elementary school and providing education or starting a club there.
Thank you so much, Nomi, for your work. It is just so inspiring to see our students and their ideas in this work. So much congratulations, and it has been a pleasure working with you this week.
Thank you so
all
much.
right, up next, we have the STEAM to Excellence, Stevens Elementary, and Christy Kloos. Christy, you are still muted.
Thank you. Good. First, I want to say how honored I am to be a part of this inspirational group of people. I'm so excited about the future of this district, and I'm excited to share our piece of this energy as well. Good morning. My name is Christy Kloos, Assistant Principal of Stevens, and I'm going to tell you about Arnold. When I first met Arnold, he was described as an energetic, strong-willed, easily frustrated, and disengaged 10-year-old. My first impression, he was a leader who needed to be heard, valued, and empowered. And it was up to me to provide multiple entry points to project-based opportunities for him to own his learning and to show what he knew in non-traditional ways. We know this story is not unique. That's why we have created Stream into Excellence. Our data shows our needs based on a downward trend of reading proficiency and profound gaps for our Latinx and Black students. We know this plan is desired because our students have told us they want something different. Students will have the flexibility to step into the stream of teaching and learning at any time or place, offering endless possibilities in leadership, voice and choice, creativity, and growth. It supports our vision to meet the needs of all learners, especially our Black and Latinx students, by providing access to high quality, standards-based instruction through innovative teaching and learning experiences with creative ways to show what they know. Let's see what that looks like. In the pilot, we'll provide our highly skilled teachers an updated book room, valuable reading instructional support, project-based learning resources, and access to our stream coach. To take it to scale, we'll expand our learning lab school-wide, ensure the coach provides professional development to every teacher, and optimize our community partnerships to ensure our success. That will be measured, we'll continue to measure our success by continually listening to our students and watching our engagement, reading, and student leadership soar. To kick off this plan, we need $264,000. We know this investment will reimagine teaching and learning throughout the building. To take it to scale, we need an additional $187,000 to ensure the infrastructure is solid and the capacity of staff and students has grown. Stevens is ready for this big idea: stream into excellence. Help us make it possible for our students, like Arnold, to take their first step into stream, to create confident, lifelong learners ready to be the future leaders of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Great idea, really interesting. You talked about community partners a couple times. Can you talk a little bit more about what, who and how you might engage them?
Absolutely. I'm going to have our principal, Miss Gigi, talk about existing partners and how we would look at growing as well.
So we have already started pre-pandemic with 7 staff members working with the crew at the Bubbler from the Madison Public Library in their makerspace trainings, which is ongoing throughout the year, where teachers can get support to learn new pieces of that. We also have been working with Whoop and Soccer, which is part of the Arts Collaboratory, which is at the university, as well as working with our church partners through the Foundation for Madison Public Schools. So all of these pieces, we've got a lot of pieces, and we've been applying at the Center for Investigating Healthy Minds to do mindfulness. So we've got a lot of pieces, and what we want to do is bring it together towards one bigger project.
Great. And can you talk just a little bit more about kind of your scaling plan? So you're doing great work.
Absolutely.
One school now, but.
Right. So in the beginning, so our very first year, we have a brand new reading training and initiative for staff, and we want to make sure that our book room is reflective to support that work. But the stream process will be piloted through our specials classrooms. And all the specials, the stream coach will be really working intentionally with grade level standards and with the teachers to be able to have this project-based opportunity for our students throughout their specials. That coupled with, we already have about 4 teachers who are ready to jump in and pilot with them, which will be a really great opportunity for us to showcase every month, which we'll have based on our professional development. We'll have a showcase every month of here's some projects. This is the new way we did this. This is how kids show what they know. And this idea that when we take it to scale, right, it'll be embedded through all classrooms at all content areas. And it won't be this really cool project you got to do with, every quarter, but it's something that we do in everything that we teach and every way that we evaluate what they've learned.
And then I think it would be for us then to share what we learned through the evaluation of the process, to share with our Memorial Area feeder and then on to the other elementary schools in the district. So the idea would truly be to see how we can shift our traditional ways of teaching into this more project-based, keeping the standards, keeping the scopes, but having kids have different ways to share what they know. And that is the key that we would then share with the other elementary schools to allow it to happen for kids at all of our schools.
Yeah, absolutely. The big scale is district-wide and nationwide, because we know this story is not unique.
Thank you so much, Christy. I just want to call out, Christy, that you made it under 3 minutes for your pitch.
No, it's the first time.
This week, there's a lot of nerves around getting it to 3 minutes, so congratulations. All right, up next, we have the MTI Centers presentation, which would target all of MMSD. So Carrie, you are up. Carrie, are you still muted?
I am indeed. Thank you. Too many moving parts.
Yeah, I get.
I just want to go back. Sorry. I am Carrie Modaviloff. I am the project lead for Centers Collaboration, Ensuring New Teacher Retention and Success, which is expanded into retention and success efforts through the union to support teachers in their own personal journey as becoming anti-racist educators. And I just want to recognize this is a partnership with a community partner, Nehemiah, through the Justified Anger course, and with our partners in MMSD department. I know we've taken time to thank people, but I just want to add that as a person who works with districts around the state, I just want to really acknowledge that this is unique. This is not how funds are being decided in other places. So for the vision, for the support, for believing in staff, I want to thank everyone involved in this. I think this is powerful. I think this cycle in of itself, the Rocket team represents that this alone isn't just about the ideas, it's about how we get ideas. It's about how we go to identifying problems, getting to root cause, and then creating change to make real improvement possible. So when we talk about the gap, and I didn't even know Dr. Latzenberg was going to be here today, so this is not a brown nose moment. It really is about the debt that we have. When we talk about the gaps in our student achievement in behavioral incidents, the underrepresentation in AP courses and graduation rates, we really have to get to the root cause of that. And that really is best said by Dr. Latson-Billings about the educational debt. It puts the responsibility where it really belongs, which is us, the makers of the system. We have designed the system and we need to get to the root cause of these to redesign the system. And as this framework really talks about in the anti-racism toolkit, we talk about getting to the teacher mindset in order to dismantle the norms that are present in our school. So the gap really is ours as educators. And if we're going to dismantle, we must first discover and disrupt. We have to learn, unlearn, and truly relearn our history. The teachers really say it best as experiencing this course through Justified Anger in the Nehemiah team. They're able to teach accurate history to their students, and they're able to empower them to do change, invite colleagues. They're able to move from knowledge into activism and action. So what is our big idea? Really to unlearn and learn anew the history. Anyone who's been through this course universally says we need to get this course to everyone. My involvement with this course actually started with the educators actively working towards anti-racism. Many of them had already been through the course, so they approached us in the union and said, how do we do this? So I've met with Nehemiah and we have designed an approach that it will be 3 phases in over 12 months to get the course Justified Anger, Black History for a New Day to up to 1,500 staff members as they discover to disrupt their current understanding. This course really does best represent the idea that we can't disrupt and dismantle things that we don't understand. That gap is the awareness that we have as white educators, and we really need to invest in our own learning before we stand before students and teach them history. So I think I just want to put up some quotes that teachers are saying that they say they leave the course with Dr. Pastor G in their head, like, now what? Now what are you going to do about it? It really moves you out of the theory into action. And really want to call to front of mind the research that we've been using in the Centers Grant from preparing teachers for urban schools through Temple University and Penn Institute, which shows that 72% of educators feel unprepared or underprepared to teach in what they define as urban schools, such as ours, schools that have a high density of students with of economic need, but also students that are majority students of color, districts and families of color. 62% of our teachers nationally say they are unprepared to teach in culturally relevant ways. And so really looking at that, we need to address that root cause. And this course offers us a unique opportunity, and really offering it with the ESSER funds in this one time is an opportunity for us to do some level setting that we really haven't done. This idea of a universal understanding that we have been untaught, mistaught, and purposefully taught a version of history which does not represent our true history. So this session is, the other thing about the Justified Anger course is it offers 18 sustained hours. It's not a one and done, over 9 sessions. Half of the sessions are face-to-face with unbelievable professors led by Pastor G every week, making sure that we don't think the problem's out there. It's here in Madison. It's not back then. It's now, currently, connecting our history to where it looks like now. They have perfected this course. So when we talk about feasibility, they have now moved it online to a portal. They have 12 years experience with over 4,500 community participants. They moved it virtually this year and saw 1,200 people go through. So our goal is to impact all 50 schools in a phased entry, first cohort up to 17 schools as they select. And when we talk about how many students that impact, it really is dependent on who takes the course, whether they're student facing. But if we think about every adult that goes through, if their classroom teachers serves anywhere from 20 to 30 students in our district, 10 staff members at a school can obviously impact a significant number of students. So it really is the level setting that we've been looking for. It looks about centering the correct history, looking at ways that we can take courageous action. You see their mission, and you see actually teachers calling this course a gift. So how is it really measurable, feasible, desirable? A lot of the desirability has been established. We alone, the Centers Grant, have supported 250 teachers participating in this course and other Nehemiah courses. The community course of 300 fills up just by word of mouth every year for 12 years. When we look at the barriers for teacher participation, they have identified the participant fee and the time that it's on Monday nights. And so we're trying to eliminate those barriers. And then while we talk about where it's feasible, we will have a design team that will meet with principals, meet with teachers, and create a multi-tiered way for people to participate. Whether it's in school hours for principals who want to bring this to a structured time, allowing more of our staff, our hourly staff in particular, that doesn't usually have access, have access to this professional development, or whether there is a beyond contract hours, and we will create a stipend-based plan. The viability is that they have moved this already into an electronic portal, allowing us to participate and successfully in multiple numbers in multiple ways. So it is a flexible design. We're able to evaluate by how many people sign up. The exit ticket, we're looking at using what Hawthorne has designed, looking at the anti-racism site, those statements of moving through discover to dismantle to disrupt, having a before and after, pre and post self-evaluation, and having a 6-month follow-up with staff to see how many of them continue to lean into and use this work. So what is our ask? It is a participant fee ask. We are asking $150 for the first cohort. To bring it to scale, it is a $450,000 pitch. We will complement this in order to exponentially increase the impact of the Centers Grant. So we will be paying the design team hours through the grant, and we will be compensating up to 100 participants through stipends each cohort. And then the scaling cost is just repeating this twice. And so looking at community members involved, what we've seen is so many offshoots come of this. Once you understand this, you can't unlearn it, you can't unsee it. One of the best quotes is on the Nehemiah site. This is a powerful course with one of our leading community members that is ready to lead this and to use this to uplift and get this course in front of every teacher would really create a shared level of understanding, a shared level of values, and really allow us to all move through discover into disrupt, to disrupt our own biases, but also disrupt the histories that we were mistaught and not taught. So really thinking about our job as educators to stand in front of our students, lift their brilliance. And this is just one of the ways that we think we can do this with the ESSER funds and create just this one-time opportunity to be scaled beyond. So thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Incredibly important work. I'm going to give you a twofer, so kind of two questions in one, so it only counts as one. First from Dr. Jenkins is, are you planning on connecting with Dr. A.J. Welton at UW to assist us in gaining additional insights in this area? And then the other question wrapped into this is, can you talk a little bit about student outcomes? A lot of people were curious about how does this actually impact students?
Thank you. So connecting with someone else to measure through the university, I'm more than happy to do that. Looking at setting in goals for teacher outcomes, teachers' mindset, and how that actually directly measures into student outcomes. The connection really is, I think that this course is perfectly designed to on-ramp teachers into the model that exists with our anti-racist tools, where we move to dismantle. When we dismantle curriculum, when we dismantle systems in our schools. And so the student outcomes really will be that teachers are actively engaged with the tools that we have and the systems we have, and looking at measuring how many sort of changes in curriculum, student belonging, student feeling, that teachers are understanding them, seeing them, perception data, but also tracking students being able to be engaged and feeling valued by teachers that now have an awareness and are engaged in the work of anti-racism.
Thank you so much, Carrie. All right, so we have another giveaway. Actually, we're going to do 2 in 1. So we have a $25 Eat Street gift card to give out. Eat Street is a local food delivery program here. If you haven't used it, it has been a game changer in my life during the pandemic. And so the winner of that gift card goes to Laura Glubb. So I will connect with you to get that your way. And then we also have some more MMSD.
Best day ever. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we also have another MMSD swag gift bag to give away. And the winner of that goes to Shayna Hetzel. Congratulations. And I'm just going to call it here that remember to tweet at us, Instagram, tag us, and put that hashtag MMSD Big Ideas so that you can be entered into more prizes coming your way. All right, so next up, our 10th idea, we are halfway through, is the MMSD Youth Magazine or Teen Zine. So Dominique, you are up.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to get my screen set up here. So my name is Dominique Christian. I am the founder of the Teen Zine idea that I'm going to attempt to present to you all today if I can get my slides together. Okay. So the problem that we are going to be looking to define here is unequal opportunity. And recognizing that the education system fails to recognize and accept the factual ideal that educational outcomes for, it says BISOC, and that's because I replace people with student, are more a function of their unequal access to key educational resources, including educators that look like them and quality curriculum that centers Blackness. Equal opportunity within a school should recognize and celebrate individuality and our intrinsic right to be nurtured in such a way so we are able to reach our full potential. Currently, the educational system does not. We know this because between 2013 and 14, data revealed that Black children represented 19% of preschool enrollment, but 47% of the out-of-school preschool suspensions. In 2019, data found that 15% of Black 8th graders were at or above reading proficiency, while only 17% of Black 12th graders hit proficiency for reading. Black students make up 18% of the MMSD population, but the graduation rate is at 69%, which still puts us at the worst graduating measure of all other identifying identities within the MMSD district. So with our plan is to design a youth magazine that is student-led and hands-on. This magazine will build social cohesion and economic prosperity during and post high school, while strengthening the connection between items like reading scores and civic responsibility. The magazine will specifically highlight youth from our communities throughout the Wisconsin area and allow for youth to make connections with other students in rural and city communities. We know that reading is the gatekeeper to functioning and succeeding academically, professionally, and civically. This magazine will foster change because it centers youth, Blackness, encourages mental liberation, in addition to embodying themes and people that respond to the youth's preferences. Our strategies to combating the inequalities that happen within our educational system is to specifically focus on self-esteem, sense of self-worth, school organization, curriculum content and delivery, discipline, provision for those considered to have special educational needs, underachievement, and building social relationships within the school community. Our plan is that students will sign up to participate with the magazine. They will produce the magazine from the front cover to the back cover. Students will report that their experiences have been valuable and that it has increased their learning and skill development. The goal of the magazine is to support students in being better prepared for life beyond high school. Our long-term goal is to have students not only graduate on time, but have a better idea of what they want to do beyond high school to address and also to address the reading crisis among Black students. So the ask is, so this budget that I kind of sort of honestly, full transparency, kind of just threw together because this is something that magazines are all across our world. It's worldwide. But the idea of connecting it to the educational piece and allowing students to actually gain a livable wage while they are attending school to attempt to combat our growing youth homelessness population, and also allowing students to earn credit so that those students that are attending school outside of the general population could potentially move back in or transition back into general population based off of their engagement with this magazine. So the numbers are something, it shows specifically that 13 students and 4 staff would be needed to make this come alive. And the things that we would be asking for from the community really would just be your support, understanding a sense of open-mindedness to give the youth something to do that allows them both the educational aspect and entertainment. And that's all I have. Thank you for listening.
I'm loving it. You're getting suggestions to become like a multimedia conglomerate. I love it. It's really centering youth voice. Can you talk a little bit about that though? Do you have any ideas of other ways that you can encourage young people to tell their own stories using podcasts, other things like that?
So I thought a lot about the podcast idea, but I centered the focus on the magazine because the magazine could become like a multimedia opportunity where it wouldn't just be sort of like a printed magazine. We're talking like videography experience, so that then the information could be uploaded on the web so that other youth throughout the country could then access and see that youth in our communities are really growing within our educational system.
Great. And great question here from Tony. Do you have any ideas of how to use the content that young people create in curriculum? And how might you do that?
Good question. And I'm not sure if I do have an answer for that. I don't. Well, as far as the curriculum goes, my concept or thoughts about the magazine was that, the students that would help support and build this magazine idea would obviously be connected to other students within the school, and they would have the autonomy to write what they feel they want to write about. And so I'm not sure how I would tie the articles that would be written within the magazine to the curriculum within the school or district, but I'm sure there are ways that once I start to have these conversations with staff of schools that are interested and open to the idea, that it's something that we could absolutely make happen.
Thank you so much, Dominique, for your presentation and your awesome teen zine idea. All right, our 11th idea is project-based learning at Shabazz High School. So Brian, you are up.
All right. I think I found the hot seat. This thing is hot even virtually. You guys are good. Dominique, I want you to come to Shabazz. You got a partner already. Let's do it. It's funny. So I'm a teacher and project-based learning coordinator at Malcolm Shabazz City High School. And yeah, sitting here, I want to create like a super big idea team. I'm just like making notes of people to collaborate with. Yeah, I want to just bring you along on our journey. So I'm the one talking today, but this has been a whole staff collaboration and buy-in. We're pretty excited about this project-based learning initiative. So let's do this thing here. So project-based learning, or PBL, it's an educational model that actively engages students in real world and personally meaningful projects to make change in themselves and their communities. So it's not a brand new concept. We've heard some people reference it today, but we think we can deliver on it in a really special way. So the Shabazz PBL initiative is most simply framed around this idea that how school feels matters. Right? This project is designed to fundamentally change how school feels. So as Maya Angelou put it, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And PBL will create this rich educational opportunity so Shabazz students can feel safe, seen, heard, and loved in the classroom. So we didn't include before pictures of Shabazz, but spoiler alert, it doesn't look like this. But what if it did? All right. If we can add the spaces and experiences like a climbing wall, a community garden, outdoor classrooms, recording equipment, community art projects, most importantly, community connection funds to make field trips equitable for all, we can make PBL transformative. After a year of COVID-induced virtual isolation and technology stupor, what we need are these spaces and places and resources to make school real, just to make it feel different. So students come to Shabazz just simply because traditional school is not working for them, right? In our school improvement interviews this last year, as we were digging in, came back with a huge desire from students and parents for more hands-on and authentic learning experiences as we recover from virtual learning. So due to COVID, these outdoor and hands-on experiences now are not only better learning experiences, but also safer and healthier, both physically and mentally. So one of our seniors, you can see her in the upper left there, in the middle, Layla, she was reflecting on an outdoor adventure class we have already. And she said, I never thought I would end up in a class like this. At one point, one of my biggest challenges was just getting out of bed. But I really do feel like I've grown much by stepping out of my comfort zone. And every time I do something fun, I can go home and tell my parents about it. And that's the best part. So we believe that PBL will target this opportunity gap we know many of our students are experiencing now more than ever, and because of inequities based on race, gender, sexuality, mental health, socioeconomic status. And we want to make our educational spaces and experiences as unique as the students we serve. So PBL will be a game changer because students will be engaging in doing real work to address real challenges in our society. And this is unique because instead of this just being a shift in a new program, this is a fundamental shift in school vision. PBL is grounded in student voice and choice and is fundamentally anti-racist. We plan to utilize PBL to attract, retain, and inspire students of color and disenfranchised youth in the community to change the game. So this project is feasible, it's desirable, it's sustainable. So it's feasible because we have a fully trained PBL staff now, thanks Cindy Green, a strong history of experiential education, and a new schedule for next fall, we're ready to rock, that supports PBL explicitly. It's sustainable because we have a growing community partner base to build on. We have a really strong vision to make this thing happen next year and into the future. It's desirable, and you can hold us accountable to seeing positive student culture and climate surveys and interviews. We'll see growth in attendance rates, increased credit attainment, and most importantly, the proof is in the pudding. You'll see it in the project students develop and share at the end with our community partners. So here's our ask. As many people have said, it's a challenging task. But this fall, we're looking for the foundational spaces, supplies, and funds to fully implement PBL and prove its value as an equitable teaching tool. In 2022, we would look to add more specific reorganization and enhancement of spaces in order to meet the needs of the classes, the students, the experiences that are inspiring kids. We want to be really, really flexible. And long term, we look to then create funding and community partnerships to sustain these spaces and experiences to close the opportunity gap and hopefully provide a model for other high schools. If last year's taught us anything, is that students need us to be great, and that is what we plan to do. So let's empower our students and make education real. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So first, those images did not look like what we typically imagine when we think of a classroom. It's really cool. Can you tell us how does it feel different for a student? Just talk to us a little bit about the difference between those spaces and more traditional classrooms.
Yeah, so the hope for us is to kind of create these entry points, right? So often I think we have these like square classrooms, and then if we're lucky, we get outside of that classroom to go on a field trip for one day or something, and it's magical. It's like, yay, right? But then you go back and you're back to that box. And so what we're hoping to create is these kind of on and off ramps where students can go back, and what the classroom looks like is still this inspiring, this engaging space. And so that way we can work with community partners and come in and work in our space. We can continue the work. So it's not just this like, cherry on top sort of experience that often getting in the community feels like, but instead the classroom just is doing real stuff. The experience is the learning. So.
Yeah, that's great. And can you talk a little bit more about the community partners, community-based project-based learning, and also how might you track that learning management system or otherwise?
Yeah, so the community partners are key, and we've built, like I said, we have a history and a number of kind of pocketed programs at Shabazz around experiential learning. And the beauty with that is that once you have it established, the community partners help to continue and keep that moving and sustainable. And then it's self-promotion, right? You're out there and they're like, holy buckets, you guys are doing really cool stuff. Like, how can we jump on board too? So that's what we're hoping. This is kind of that seed money to get us out there, bring some partners in, and then share the wealth in that, connecting with other schools. And what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry.
How might you track some of that learning?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I think the biggest things like we're looking at is kind of the Layla quote. I mean, Layla's an incredible human, and it's just mind-boggling to think a student like that, had a hard time getting out of bed to come to school, right? And so while attendance is sometimes one of those like, but that it's huge, right? Kids do stuff they care about, they love, that feels good. They don't do stuff they don't care about or feels crappy. And so I think that's kind of our hope. And so that's one big one. Obviously, this last week has shown us again, like how the place feels, how the vibe you get when you walk in, that energy is a big deal. So getting interviews from students, some of that data of how they're feeling included in that space. And then more concretely too of credit attainment, how kids are working towards graduation and how this helps them to graduate and just feel proud of what they're doing. And that's where the projects come in. You get to see the kids shine and like say, hey, I did this and it matters. It's not just a checkbox of a science credit or something like that, so.
Thank you so much, Brian, and your inspiring and energizing presentation. Check the chat because it looks like Shayna is willing to connect you already to people at AmFam.
All right, let's do it. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Next up, we have parent liaisons, which is connected to Mendota Elementary, and we've got Ebony McKinley ready to rock.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I'm that one who camera has stopped working in the midst of all of this. I want to say hello, everyone. I'm Ebony, parent liaison and mother of 5 who have graduated from MMSD. After COVID-19, we need to use this summer of 2021 to continue ensuring that our scholars and families knows that MMSD walks the walk, but keeping the bridge between school and families mended even during summer months. We have the motto, we know parent liaison work. The big idea here is to extend and expand existing successes. Yes, there are challenges, but if we press pause, we lose, not gain, because the disconnection is open for a downward spiral. This big idea solution has 2 parts. Extending the role over the summer and expanding the reach through professional learning. We need this summer to help students and families continue to navigate hurdles and obstacles so they can be ready for success in the next school year. This project will help grow the district goals we already have in place providing a built-in professional learning opportunities for school and district staff. Let me show you some of the critical behind-the-scenes work that parent liaisons make happen by mending the broken bridges in our systems. We are connecting all the dots you see here. We are building up our Black and brown families and scholars to break down barriers of systematic racism grounded in restorative justice. And with summer extension, we can continue the MMSD mantra for family engagement for all staff through professional development. Let's talk about desirability. We know from virtual learning surveys, climate surveys, and our own need assessment process that people want connections. What about feasibility? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We have a successful model already in place, but we can't press pause if we want to maintain stability. Viability. We can use the data we gather from this summer to continue to expand and extend the parent liaison role. To measure success, we ask families and scholars themselves. We can also look at attendance. Student JR attendance started at 45%, and recently she's at 77% attendance. You can make a huge impact with less than $20,000 per school. This is not a gamble. This is something we need. This is something we know is a game changer. And we have the opportunity now with these COVID relief funds to give wings to this so that we can maintain connections through the summer. Here's a budget for one school, but I hope you will seriously consider supporting this for more schools. Can I just ask everybody just to close their eyes for 1 minute on this Zoom? And I want to leave you with a quote. I want to leave you with a quote out of the mouth of a first grader scholar, Ivory Hope. A parent liaison is having a parent at school to make sure you do well in school. I just want to read that part one more time. I want to leave you with a quote out of the mouth from a first grade scholar, Ivy Hope. A parent liaison is having a parent at school to make sure you do well in school. Thank you.
Thank you so much for centering us on that quote. Can you actually tell us another story, right? I mean, like, what is the impact of having these staff in schools on students? Just talk to us a little bit more.
Well, I'll give you an example. The student JR I spoke about, especially doing virtual learning. This was a family that was not engaged at all. And a part of my role as parent liaison, I am the one that will figure out the who, the why, the what, the when. So through this pandemic, nonstop, I sent out emails, I sent out positive quotes, I sent out text messages, I sent out handwritten cards. And I cannot begin to tell you to have a scholar go from not attending the school at all to see this scholar every single day now. And that's just a part of who I am as a person. And having 5 children of my own to graduate through MMSD, I really get a chance not only as being a parent myself, but also being a staff in MMSD. I have lenses from all angles. And I also currently, I ride the bus home with the kids. You know, I wanted to get a better understanding of what that ride was like for our scholars, you know, to figure out how can I let them understand we are here for them no matter what area. I'm so sorry to cry. But these scholars and these families, you know, this year has just been so instrumental in all of our work, and to put a pause to it, I feel like we would just lose so much. And you know, how the parents waiting on the kids, you know, when I get off the bus with the kids, I'm able to talk to the parents then also.
This is so powerful. You're getting a ton of love. I hope you see that. You know, I have a question for you, and I don't know if there's going to be a good answer, because I think so clearly your work is so centered in who you are as an individual and the passion that you bring to your young people. How do we make sure that every staff member at MMSD has that?
Right, and that was the big, huge piece when this was brought to me. I wanted to make sure that staff really understand this is something that we all have to join in to be a part of. You know, we are all like a puzzle piece. Everybody needs to be doing their part for this to become that mantra that MMSD talks about, family engagement. We have to do this together. This is why it's so important. This was the piece that I talked about. If they, would allow, I would be more than willing to say, hey, this is the training that you all need so you can see the perspective of these scholars and for what the parents are really wanting and need. And we also have to meet families where they're at. And that may mean we meet them at a community center. We take them out to a restaurant. We can go to a park and social distance and have reading lessons with families. We could have math sessions and social distance. It's no reason we can't all do this work together and celebrate MMSD for what we are here to do.
Wow. Ebony,
Leah, newsflash, breaking news. I have to say, Mrs. McKinley, I'm glad you couldn't show your face because I don't know if I could have held up just hearing your words and then seeing your face. This is what the Big Ideas is about. People coming through, stepping up for our children. Let's not forget that at the end of the day, it's about having impact on our children and on our families and on our staff. And we can, you said it better than anyone, Ms. McKinley, if we come together, we can make a difference. So thank you. Newsflash, Leah, I'm done.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. You said it perfect. Thank you, Ebony, for your inspiring presentation.
Absolutely.
So we have another giveaway. So to follow Ebony's incredible presentation, we've got a Dream Bank gift bag, a cooler, you get some mugs, a picnic blanket, for all that social distancing outdoor time that we've engaged in. And this goes to Melinda Henriques. Thank you so much for posting and tagging us in social media. All right, up next, we have youth action teams. This is part of MMSD's Family, Youth, and Community Engagement. So Hannah, Delia, and Nora, you are up.
Good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. I'm Delia, a junior at La Follette.
I'm Nora Alamudi, a sophomore at East.
And I'm Hannah Nierenhausen with MMSD's Family, Youth, and Community Engagement team.
We are all members of Youth Voice and Vision, or YV Squared, a team of students and adults working in partnership in MMSD to uplift youth voice. We are here on behalf of that team and on behalf of all the students in the district who have brilliant ideas and can help us make schools a better place, and we can help students feel empowered and valued.
Today we are asking you to invest in young people. Trust us, believe in us, and show that you are actually willing to share power and partner with us to transform our experience. Our idea is youth action teams. We want to build systems for students to have an active role in identifying the needs in their community and executing solutions. First, we want you to hear from some MMSD students.
It felt like I was locked up in a cage, extra hard and overloaded.
It was easy. I wasn't tripping about it or nothing. The bad part about it is I just got lazy. I don't like being lazy. I like to get up and do stuff.
I procrastinate a lot.
It's like overwhelming and stressful.
I get distracted mostly.
It feels kind of weird of being back. It's a miracle, finally.
As students, we know
It felt like I was
and want change, but we need help understanding how the system works and how to lead change. And we need youth voice to mean investing in our ideas, not just giving us surveys.
And as adults, we want to partner with students, but we need to learn how to share power, how not to tokenize or manipulate youth voice, how to listen, learn from, and truly collaborate with young people.
Imagine if the students who are struggling or feel like they don't belong could instead learn how to organize and advocate for their ideas and could actually have that idea funded and supported to make their schools better. We already have all the pieces. We just need to build the foundation to make it possible.
Students and adults will get trained on community organizing, advocacy, and how to work together as partners. Schools will build youth action teams made up of students, staff, and families and communities to address mental wellness and social justice in the school. There will be a portion of money set aside that will be given to support student-driven ideas. Then we will share what's working, what we're learning, get and give support, and build community.
So, what's it going to take? We have passionate, brilliant people and groups in this community, but we need time and investment now to plant and nurture the seeds to make this a reality. We're asking for just over $96,000 for planning, training, rental space, materials, as well as student transportation and compensation to make this accessible. This initial investment will build capacity and offer time to test, build, and begin scaling this idea.
For our community, we need training space, food for our meetings and events, and we want you to actually be incorporated by helping us build leadership and advocacy skills.
And from MMSD, we need institutional investment. We need you to prioritize this work and make time and space for schools and leadership to truly engage with this initiative. We are committed to measuring this work on multiple levels, thinking about both engagement and impact. We want to bring our district resources to bear and actually measuring and sharing the outcomes for the different ideas that students propose and then have funded. But measuring the process is equally important. Are students coming to meetings and trainings? Are they requesting funding? How are students and adults experiencing the process? What skills are they developing? How is it shifting the culture?
When a student is invited to actively change things, they will feel more engaged, feel valued, and feel like they belong. This is more important now than ever.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
A huge shout out, students doing 3 people and a 3-minute pitch, and it was smooth and clean. That does not happen. Power to you. And what a great idea of not just doing these token efforts of Youth Voice, but really making it systematic. Love it. Can you talk a little bit about how would a school feel different if we gave young people more power?
Coming from a student, honestly, you know, being more involved in the school and like when you're going and attending meetings and you're actually like, you know, feel like you're being heard and stuff like, hey, I want to go back. Like, I want to go back and I want to actually change my school for the better and help other students feel more, you know, welcome there and feel like they can actually voice concerns, opinions, ideas. And, you know, I feel like I'm valued and I want to go back and I want to help the school, and not just, you know, for me because, you know, I'm a junior, so I'll have next year and then I'll be off, but also for the future generations and my sister who will be going through La Follette too. I just want to make that a more welcoming environment.
Great. Also, you know, a really good idea about like this is worthwhile work. It should be credit bearing. Can you talk a little bit more about what you think of that? Like, should you get credit for also doing labor to support your school?
You know, I think that yes, why not? You know, this is very much hard work and it, you know, I can speak from past summers and school years, and I've dedicated countless hours being at meetings, sharing ideas, listening, and trying to work with other students and other adults. And, you know, it is a lot of work. And I think that students should be compensated for their time, their efforts, their energy, their ideas, just as, you know, teachers would. I think kind of comes back to that, like, sharing of power and making sure that, hey, students are also seen as like valuable members of the team.
Delia and Nora, you are inspiring leaders in MMSD and in Madison. I just want to thank you deeply for taking the time on your Saturday after a long school week to present your brilliance and to really be the center of student work in this big ideas. So thank you. All right, up next, we have the East Barbershop Apprenticeship. So for East High School, Harry, you are up.
Right. Get this presented. All right, so yeah, I got the Lifestyle Hair Care Barbershop program. So my target audience is students who are underserved student population. For example, the students who have IEPs and not special education students, but also students of color and students who have expressed a genuine interest in barbering, who feel that the college path isn't what they want to take and don't feel like they can financially. Because in my experience with working with La Follett's Micro School and with students at East High School's Transition Academy, most of these students struggle with sitting in a traditional classroom setting. And the majority of them have expressed their disinterest in going to a 2 or 4 year college. But they have expressed an interest in hands-on work such as barbering. And I had the opportunity to cut the students' hair at the Goodman Community Center. And the majority of the students have always asked if I can teach them how to cut their own hair and how to cut hair. So what really excites me about this opportunity is different in that typical schools utilize a curriculum designed to cut straight or loose curls. Even taking the state boards exam, the skills you have to demonstrate are centered around cutting with scissors and combs and doing permanent waving, which is turning straight hair curly. But this curriculum was specifically targeted teaching students how to cut fades, tapers, and hair designs and ethnic hair, Black hair. They'll be knowledgeable in cutting their own hair and marketing on social media, which I think is a game changer. And there's also a multidisciplinary edge to it, as they need to learn science. My fault, my daughter's in the background, she just stepped in. They'll need to learn science, as they need to know the facial bones and muscles and chemicals and so on, math, as they need to learn how to budget the money they make from cutting hair or even running their own business, as we can partner with Summit Credit Union that's already established in East High School, and also partner and connect students with other Black-owned barbershops in the community. But they got to learn English for there's reading material and writing things down, and social studies, which is learning why different eras rock different hairstyles and why specific hairstyles are rooted in culture. Because I know we've seen in the media how some students have to cut their dreads off because they don't really understand why we have what we have. And then the history, learning the origins of barbering. And lastly, art, because cutting hair is an art. So if I can offer this program in a classroom at East High School, they have the opportunity to earn some credit, some type of credit, while learning a trade. So I think that's a great opportunity. So the success of the program will be measured in their knowledge by completing assessments, rather formal and informal, but also motivation. When they come to class, is their attitude positive? So to stay focused or do they stay focused and attentive? Also, motivation is measured by their attendance as well. The success of the program will be measured by their self-esteem. Do they feel confident about who they are and what they're doing? And also employment, which is more of a long-term thing, but did they join a barbering program and graduate and are now employed potentially at my barbershop? So I'm asking for $5,000. It'll be used for barber equipment, which students will get 2 pair of the finest clippers and trimmers with other necessities. It'll be used for supplies and money for inventory, as I need to buy textbooks and mannequins. And also I need to keep a stock of things like neck strips and cleaning supplies. If they finish the program, they get to keep the clippers and trimmers. And I would love to give them a scholarship to any 10-month barbering / cosmetology school, specifically Chanel Ardor, which is a Black-owned school. I believe is the first, not the first, but she does teach ethnic hair as well. And that's the school that I graduated from. So that's the ask, that's the pitch.
Harry, lots of love for you and your little one. Can you talk a little bit about loving the idea? How might you grow it, right? From maybe one classroom to something bigger?
Yeah, I mean, the hope is for it to be like a Pathways program and to offer it in all of the high schools, all of the major high schools. So, I mean, we'll grow it by like the increase in attendance, like kids telling me, yo, I wanna be a part of the program. And if we can't offer more students, then that's when I know we gotta scale this.
Love it. And can you talk a little bit more about, I mean, you mentioned this a bit, but about the impact of young people learning these skills, like how do they feel different, right?
So how do they feel different when they cut hair?
Yeah.
So they feel, like yesterday I was at JP's, not cutting hair, I was just there, and one guy, he walked out, he was like, oh, I'm a brand new man. So it's like getting your haircut, you feel like a brand new person. You just feel more confident about yourself and what you can do. And so, yeah.
Thank you so much, Harry. It has been, I personally got to work with Harry at the La Follette Micro School, so I'm glad to see that your idea that came many years ago is here pitching to this audience. Up next, we have the Family Research Fellow. This is geared at West High School. So Blair, you are up.
Okay, great. I'm Blair. I'll be presenting the Family Research Fellows. It's actually more than one fellow project. This idea addresses the need for building sustained and supported partnership with families who have been marginalized by West High and by MMSD in the past. In early 2020, in collaboration with Centro Hispano, the Boys and Girls Club, and the Bayview Foundation, the West High SBLT began conducting empathy interviews and listening sessions. This project specifically focuses on what families said about family engagement. The interviews confirmed that while families of color and working class families want to be meaningful participants, they do not feel that West is welcoming or accessible. The barriers are both material and cultural. Add to that the well-documented racialized gaps in student outcomes. We know that we are misserving systematically youth of color. Scholarly research on school-family partnerships shows that family engagement matters and offers frameworks for best practices. Families have knowledge and expertise. Families can see what we haven't seen, ask questions we haven't been asking, and identify new paths forward for our school. So we have to ask ourselves, what's next? We can't go back to normal because normal wasn't working. How do we break down the barriers to participation and elevate the voices of marginalized families at West to their rightful place? Family Research Fellows creates the conditions for that to happen. This project supports the creation of a one-year paid Family Research Fellowship. After training in the summer, fellows begin the school year with students and staff and offer their first recommendations in December. A coordinator supports the fellows through the process. Fellows would be in the school daily, attending classes and observing meetings. They will be supported to develop a research question and will collect, analyze, and disseminate data. The fellows would also work in the communities to publicize their findings. This project takes lessons from community organizing and from what we know definitely doesn't work. We know that real school change is not possible without community support. We know that community support without deep community engagement cannot be democratic or just. And we know that deep community engagement is not possible unless we create the conditions for it. It follows then that real and just school change is not possible unless we create the conditions for deep community engagement. Family Research Fellows is designed to create those conditions. In the short term, we'll know our project is viable if we're able to recruit and retain fellows who are able to do the research and make recommendations. In the long run, we'll know if the project is working if we begin seeing real school change. As for resources, the real magic is in the minds of the Family Research Fellows. We just need to get them in the door and support them. To pilot this project with 2 fellows at West, we're looking at a bit less than $160,000. Fully implemented, we're looking at just over $500,000. Opportunities for the Madison community to be supportive might include providing computers, books, and other supplies, as well as community meeting space, babysitting support, and transportation assistance. We'd also love to partner with research organizations in developing a summer research methods training and with local news organizations or groups to help publicize the research findings. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Blair. You talked about the conditions for deep community engagement. Can you tell us a little bit more about what those conditions are? What does a school that's ready for deep community engagement look like?
So one of the things that we heard a lot from families that want to be engaged but can't be is, I work all day, I cannot come to the school. Or I work all day and then you have something at 7 o'clock at night and I'm tired and there's no parking and I can't get there. And then we heard also cultural barriers. Like I get there and nobody who looks like me or sounds like me is there as well. And so when I talk about creating the conditions, I'm actually talking about paying a family member to say, hey, I think I can take a year leave from my job and come to school every day to really learn it. I think that there's like a respect gap from West to families that need to be heard, but there's also an access gap. And it's not just a one-time thing. It's a broader thing than that. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. I love it. And actually, can you tell us a little bit more concisely about, is this happening in any other places, a model like this that you've looked to?
What an interesting question. So in doing the research for this, I was reading a lot about dual capacity building models, and I can't remember the name of the scholar who set up that framework, but everything I read from her or hear from her is amazing. And she talks about how this is happening. I don't know if this exact model is happening, but we heard from Ebony McKinley. I hope I got your last name right. Right, Karen Mapp, thanks Cindy, about the powerful work over at Mendota that she is leading. We heard from those YV2 scholars about that. That's power sharing, right? That's building the conditions to not just say, okay, yes, we heard you, now we're gonna go do what we think we heard you say, but actually fully engage in the decision-making. And one other thing is that, this takes families' ideas really seriously, right? Like embedded in this is the idea that we can trust families' expertise implicitly. And I think that's really important.
Thank you so much, Blair, for your work in this idea. It's inspiring. So it's giveaway time. We have another Let's Talk About It book, and the winner of this is Eliav Goldman. Congratulations. All right, up next, we have Transformative Justice and Education. This is Thoreau Elementary's idea. Dan Davidson and his team are up now.
And hey, this is Daryl Elliott. Real quick, I'm part of Dan's team. I'm with Company Works, and so is Crystal Hudson. We're part of the community and part of Company Works. And before we start the pitch, I have to say this to you all, Madison. I'm from New York City originally. I'm one of the first kids ever bused to an integrated school in New York City. One of the first ones ever, first grade. And everything you're talking about are things that if they were in place would make a huge difference. But I want you to know I'm from the projects of Harlem. And everything you're talking about showed up. Community leaders, moms showing up, the teachers, the community, everything coming together. What a phenomenal piece you put together here. And one last thing. This, Doctor, this should be done yearly. We should invite other investors and supporters and sponsors and have this a yearly event so we can see the report out and we can continue on way beyond the grant. I think this is an awesome, powerful way of doing what you're doing. So I just have to add that in. And with that, I'm going to give it back to Dan and the team so we can begin the pitch. Thanks so much for letting me have that moment. Crystal, team.
Yes, DJ. Welcome, beautiful people. Wake up, wake up. We are abolishing and transforming our systems by listening to student, family, and community voice. We are hearing from our students that we need belonging and partnership through justice, equity. Let's listen to our student voice.
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Need more around staff. Small fun! Best of my business. Control my learning. By going on my field trip, Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter!
This is a Thoreau student named Delonte with his mom named Delilah. Delonte loves creating music, social justice, reading, and solving creative problems. Delante wants to pursue social justice, so his teacher will be receiving coaching from Company Works on partnership. He will be involved in King's groups and social justice student leadership groups as well. Delante is involved in urban triage, social justice, and healthy Black families. Delante has been asking for a mentor, so he will be connected with a high school student who is being coached as well. His family and him will be voiced in his learning and investments. Before these plans were put into place, he had this to say.
I feel seen and heard.
Welcome and thank you everybody to our big idea. Delante is experiencing a wraparound student-centered approach. Our solution, project-based learning with community support, caregivers and teachers with access to community connections, coaching skills, and transformative anti-racist training to better engage students, leadership coaching to high school students, and who will be peer mentors to our Thoreau students.
We will measure our success, or we will measure our success when our Black and brown students feel that they belong at Thoreau, when they feel their teachers believe in them, when they feel that they are safe, and when our caregivers are part of the school improvement planning process and around their experience and provide feedback in multiple platforms. And when staff increase in culturally responsive practice and focus on engaging students of color, especially Black students and learning in classroom community. Then will Black and brown students see themselves in our Madison community, decrease in suspension and behavior referrals, an increase in daily attendance, an increase in academic proficiency. And we will measure our success through student surveys, through referral data, through attendance data, and through academic data. We'll invest in the following: in our partnership through Company Works, in doubling our professional development that we've had this year, also in accountability coaching with staff, and investment in certified coaching for educational assistants, and through our community-based organization funding, and an all-school book study. Our total investment will be $25,000 for the first 9-week pilot program. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate listening.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for sharing. I was inspired by DJ, what he said at the beginning, and really by everybody. I wasn't going to do my big idea pitch, but here it is that we need to do more of this. We've got Linda Bukunta from the city on. We've got Megan Minen from the county. We got Nicole. We got Shayna. So we have some pretty big funders, right? The county's got 106 million. The city's got 49 million. So we could do this. How do we also leverage this group and all the connections and all the good ideas? And I'm looking at you, Shayna, because you've got a lot of experience in how do you bring groups together in cohorts to continue this learning. So that's my big idea pitch. Thank you, DJ. It does not count for your 2 questions. But I did want to talk a little bit and ask about, love the idea, love kind of transforming a school in this way. How might you grow and scale?
Well, we can start with Delante's story. So in 1st grade, Delilah pulled Delante out of school multiple times to homeschool him because his needs weren't being met. In 2nd grade, he was out of the classroom more than 50% of the time, restrained and secluded over 15 times. Delante, we started to partner with Delilah, and Delilah felt that she had to pull him out of MMSD because he wasn't getting his needs met. He wasn't feeling seen. He wasn't feeling heard. And so we knew we had to reteam. We had to change mindset. We had to listen to Delante, and we had to listen to Delilah. Last year, Delante was in a self-contained classroom 75% of the time. Partnering with Company Works, partnering with Delilah, listening to Delante, we've actually transformed and abolished actual systems. Delante advocated for the removal of a seclusion room. We removed that seclusion room. Delante advocated to see his community in the classroom. We advocated for mentorships. We partnered with Company Works. We got the coaching done. Delante asked for his teacher to see him, to hear him. So that's just Delante, right? That shows that we need a mind shift change. We need to change the world. Students come to me after behavior response. I have 4-year-olds running the halls and telling me I don't feel seen here. That's a mind shift change. That's on us in education. That's not on the 4-year-old. And so if we expand with coaching, integrity coaching, if we expand with changes in curriculum, we'll see that mind shift change, and we'll actually see our students feeling seen and heard.
Yeah, no, if I could add to that, just real briefly, we are a coaching training company. So you keep hearing Company Works, coaching and training. So we believe in the training, but then the coaching has to be there to master the new experience. So the teachers who are learning a new way of thinking, they're going to need coaching to make sure that that thinking is taking hold. That's kind of what you see as the coaching accountability piece of it. That's got to be there.
That's great. I love the coaching and I love the abolition. I'm loving it. Can you tell us how Delonte is doing now?
Well, the other day, Delonte said to me, you know, I like my day better with you, but what you and others have taught me is that I have myself, I have confidence in myself, and I believe in myself. And Delonte has been in class 100% of the time. He has tailored projects to his needs. He's partnering with Urban Triage and Social Justice. You know, that book has his mural in it. So, you know, he's feeling really successful. He sees himself, he hears himself, but he wants more. He wants more Black and brown staff in the school. He wants more mentors in the school. He wants to leave the school building and like put his knowledge into the community. So that's what we're doing with this.
And we've added one more collaborator who actually put together the video. He's on now. His name is Lyric Hudson, and he's a student at West. And he's the one who put together all Memorial, excuse me, Memorial. And he learned that entire process on his own. So it could have been leader led, but he created a whole thing for himself to learn. Chris, Lyric, are you there?
Yep, Lyric's here.
Anything you want to add? Mr. Hudson?
No, I have nothing to add, but I would like to say it was an honor and it was a real privilege putting that video together and helping with what we're doing today.
Thank you so much, Lyric, for your work. And thank you, Thoreau, for your incredible presentation and your energy that you brought into this. I just want to call it that we have 3 more pitches. We do recognize that we are 14 minutes over, but this is such an inspiring time. And so we're just going to rock it. And I hope members of our community and our students and staff are able to stay with us for a few more minutes. So up next, we have All In, which is geared at middle schools here in Madison. So Maxine, take it away.
All right. Good morning, everyone. It is really an honor to be here with everyone and to see all of this synergy across the ideas and all of this energy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up the energy of the last group, but I will do my best because I'm by myself. So our idea is All In, which is sorry, one second, there we go. All In, which is the Anti-Racist Learning Laboratory and Innovation Network. We're a group of youth, scholars, educators, parents, and community organizers. So here's the issue that we're interested in. Many of Black, Indigenous, Latinx, Asian American middle school students don't actually like being in MMSD schools. The climate data shows that less than 60% of these students enjoy being in school, feel like school is a positive environment for learning for them, see their history and culture reflected in their school, feel valued or a sense of belonging in their school. So many of the things that lots of us have talked about. So what does this data say? It says that we're doing some things and that some students feel that they can learn positively in their schools, that they feel valued and feel a sense of belonging, but a lot of students don't. A lot of middle schoolers don't feel that way. What we're also seeing here is that we don't know a lot about the people who didn't answer. So these are the results from people who did answer. So we're serving some, but we're not serving all, and we're not even serving most. But we know a lot about this population. We know that systemic racism is a problem in our schools, that a lot of our students feel that their schools are set up for them to fail, that they feel like their teachers don't know them or have deficient orientations about them, that they also don't have a lot of teachers of color. We also know that in our schools, there are very narrow views of what it looks like to teach, what it looks like to learn, and we are able to learn. We also know that we have disproportionate rates of discipline in our schools, particularly for Black and Latinx students, and that we're criminalizing the behaviors of these youth and of their families and effectively pushing them out of schools. We also have high absenteeism rates in middle schools in Madison. In the last 5 years, for Black and Latinx students, we have between a 15 and 30% absenteeism rates, right? So we know that they're not in school sometimes. But yeah, we have a lack of in-school supports at the middle school level for these early adolescents. And so this is a huge issue. We also know things from our children and from our parents. We know that our children want teachers to care for them and want to be there for them. So as one Black middle schooler says, if teachers want to help kids learn, they need to learn about the kids themselves. So they want to be seen and known. Black parents are also saying that if there's a reason for their kid to be in school, that their kids will be there, right? That their kids will show up if there's a reason for them to be there. So what if BIPOC middle schoolers, their families, community members, and educators were co-designers of learning spaces? If they were the ones who could decide who the teachers and who the learners are, what teaching looks like, what learning looks like, and how we're going to assess it, what the curriculum is and where it happens, and how and where we learn, and how we want to make those spaces, how we want those spaces to make us feel. So our proposal is to reclaim schools as a public space and a public good by creating a space, a learning space that is for us and by us. A space that is a micro community school at the middle school level, a space that is voluntary that people want to come to, that's culturally sustaining and place-based in their curriculum and in their pedagogies, that's intergenerational learning space where everyone is a learner, from students, educators, parents, and families and communities, and that is BIPOC designed and led. How we plan to measure our success for this space is by looking at our community. So are people in this learning space showing up? How are they experiencing this space? Are we meeting their needs and desires? Do they feel valued as co-designers, co-leaders, and learners? We'll also know by doing alternative and comparative assessments with our learners and with our families. So looking at artifacts and demonstrations of their learning. How are they participating? How are they engaging? And continuously learning from these measures to improve our programs and to improve our work, to be answerable to the very people that we're trying to serve. We'll also know through external evaluations. So inviting other people in the community, but also external evaluators who are doing anti-racist evaluation to look at what our engagement rates are, what are our attendance rates, how do those compare to other learning spaces within MMSD? How do our communities feel about the work that we're doing? So how are we going to go about doing this? You see our budget here. We are working towards testing this in the summer and in the fall, and hopefully beyond that. So we have some staffing needs in terms of teachers and staff, resources and supplies for this work. We want to bring in non-MMSD educators to do artist work, to do outdoor learning and other kinds of learning that is out in the community. And then we have some community asks to make this happen in terms of food and facilities, because we're really committed to this being a small learning space, but a learning space in a place that is not a school, that may not have a fraught history for families and for learners. We want to have our students out in the world. So we want to have some community support around getting us into the world, such as in museums and in places around our community, and transportation to get us there. So that is our big, bold idea. And I invite your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is powerful and fantastic. And speaking of abolition, there's a great interview or podcast or blog from Maxine that Families for Justice put out. So take a look at that. We got a question right here from Ali Muldrow. Focusing on 12 middle schools is a profound opportunity. How will the 12 schools all come together to share ideas and support students?
That's a wonderful question. And so because this is an opt-in micro school at the middle school level, we will be accepting middle schoolers from all schools, as well as inviting in the faculty and staff, support staff, families, and community members who are served by those middle schools and live in those neighborhoods to come in and check out the work that we're doing. I think they'll also be served, so there's an opportunity there for the kinds of things that we're trying to play around with and experiment with and think about to be taken back to the existing schools. There's also an opportunity, if this is funded further, for us to take some of this work back in different ways to the other schools, right? So if we scale this out to actually occur in more schools beyond the sort of test sites that we're going to try to work with.
Love it. And can you talk on this question come from Megan Minen from the county? Can you talk a little bit more about what exactly is meant by a learning space, learning lab? What does this look like in practice?
Yeah, so a learning laboratory is a space of experimentation where we try out new things and we are expecting to see how they work and to refine those ideas so that they work better. And so what it looks like in practice is us creating a learning space that's co-designed with youth, with educators, with community members, and with families about how we want to create a school. And so our vision is for this summer to begin to design that space, to test that space out with some learning activities, and then to map that space out into a full-scale learning day for the fall.
Thank you so much, Maxine. And thank you for collaborating with MMSD and UW-Madison. It is just fantastic to see that partnership. All right, next up, this is idea number 18, is the Akira Recording Studio. This is geared at Toki Middle School, and we've got Gavin Garrett and Ilyav Goldman. We are not hearing your.
There we go. Sorry.
All right, good morning all. Can you hear the music okay? Perfect. Well, thank you for hosting this wonderful showcase of MMSD innovation and creativity. I'm Ilyav Goldman. Here with me is Gavin Garrett. We're music teachers at Toki Middle School, and we are so excited to present our big idea, which is the Akira Recording Studio. Before we begin the pitch, just wanted to highlight that the music we're listening to right now is a student composition by Toki 7th grader Lincoln M. All right, let's begin. Through empathy interviews and student surveys, students like Lincoln and Jacoby, who's quoted here, have identified 3 areas in which Toki needs to continue to grow. To address the gap between our aspirations and our reality, we aim to cultivate a culture of collaboration and collective value through restorative practices, develop innovative opportunities for students to co-generate ideas and lead curriculum development, and to increase students' sense of belonging within our walls. The data we've collected from nearly 350 Toki students indicates a strong desire for digital music creation. 75% of students surveyed indicated interest in digital music, and 95% of students indicated interest in utilizing a recording studio space. The Akira Recording Studio will be a place where Toki's 620 plus students, as well as the broader Toki community, can come together in collaboration and exploration through the recording arts.
And that brings us to our big idea, which is creating the Akira Recording Studio, and more importantly, the student experience surrounding that space. A large part of our idea is acquiring technology to make the ours, but it's really more than that. Through a mentorship program with guest artists, Jacoby and their peers will be empowered as producers capable of teaching students and staff how to utilize the studio. Artist residencies, peer-to-peer mentorship, and an emerging partnership with the Meadowood Community Center will ensure the sustainability of the studio. And we're looking forward to future renovations that will secure accessibility and permanent space for the Akira Recording Studio. Hearing from students like Lincoln and Jacoby is what inspired the genesis of the Akira Recording Studio in the first place. Feedback from students will continue to drive the growth and success of the Rs. By consistently monitoring student engagement and enjoyment through surveys, empathy interviews, and holistic change, and utilizing statistics, we will ensure that students and community voices continue to shape the sustainable studio model. To provide Jacoby and Lincoln these opportunities, we're asking for $16,000 for startup resources for the studio. To expand the studio and ensure sustainability, we're asking for extra employment to train Toki staff and $4,000 to establish a guest artist residency to train student producers. That will enable, looking past the testing phase, we are confident that student successes will enable us to obtain further guidance and funding to reimagine the physical space of the Akira Recording Studio.
In our classes, we like to start with music and end with music. So we're going to listen to a song here. And this song was written and performed by Toki 8th grader Anaya Phillips. And it serves as an example of some of the excellence happening at Toki that would be elevated by giving students greater access to the recording arts.
What would I do without your small love? Telling me stories that I'm writing down, that also come with sleepless nights, and many people died to stand for their rights, rising up to join the fight, but many people couldn't see that it was right. Bloody Sunday was a time to pray to keep people alive that day.
As you can see, students like Lincoln, Jacoby, and Anaya are finding a sense of belonging in the audio arts. We want to validate and uplift their voices by providing them with the capacity to create high-quality art. We're immensely proud of what Anaya has done with just a vision and a Chromebook. Imagine what she could do with a quality recording studio. Thank you.
So powerful. I am tempted to just say, can we use this 2 minutes of questions just to listen to those tracks and reflect that those are young people, right? And this that you've helped facilitate, right? But I think there's been a couple of questions around this being accessible for more students. What are your ideas, or how could you think about that, of it not just being for Toki students, but for more?
Yeah, this could really be a model where we take the recording studio and really the experience around the space of student leaders and restorative practices. And this can be the model where we look at how this works at Toki and expand it to more schools throughout the district.
And I'll just add here that we've already been in conversation with groups like Meadowood Community Center and our feeder school, our feeder high school memorial, to get those students involved as well, so that it's not just a Toki thing, but it's a whole Toki community thing, right? It's for students whether or not they go to Toki.
Yeah, and we definitely, we can always ask for more money. So, more tech, more spaces, absolutely, for sure.
When the superintendent puts it out there, you might as well go for it. There's some stimulus dollars. I love it. Super powerful. I think one of the interesting things is there are so many ideas that are really aligned. What are some of the other ideas that you've heard today that you might think about working with? I've heard a lot of different pathways. Any comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and Eliav and Rudy, feel free to jump in too, but just ideas that are like experiences for students focused on their leadership and their voice and how important they are in forming their own educational community, right? Things like the barbershop, things like the podcast, right? That fits in perfectly with the studio. Yeah, we're excited to work.
And one thing I'll add is, so we are a music department that uses hip hop pedagogy. So we teach through the lens of hip hop, and one of the central themes of that pedagogical method is decentering the teacher, right? Like everybody's voice is equally valued. And so that's one of the beautiful things that we're noticing, not just in our project, but like in every project today, which is such an important thing for growth for MMSD. And yeah, Rudy, I don't know if Rudy wants to jump in here. Rudy's a producer extraordinaire and Toki community partner. Go for it, Rudy, if you have anything to add.
Thanks for that compliment about being a producer extraordinaire. That was the first, but I'm gonna run with that. I just think this, my experience in general with music and it being so universal, and it's also a place when you talk about social emotional learning, rigor, cross classroom collaboration, bringing down the silos between community and school. It's just, I think the potential is unlimited. And also it's a capacity building model within itself, because I imagine, even similar to what I thought about with the barbershop idea, like when students, move through the program, they can also return and become the teachers and tutors of the program. So it's just, I can go on and on, but it's been a long thing, but I just think this is an awesome idea. And my experience with working in micro schools and also my experience with being a tutor in prison, music has always been that place to meet people at. And build from there. And you think about curriculum, how curriculum is tied into it too. And then there's research around how often marginalized students can find a place and voice within that, within music. And it's not just music, it's podcasts, it's video production, just any number of things. So it's there, and fully in support of this this idea, and it's new and it's fresh, and we need that. So
Thank you so much, Rudy, Ilya, Garrett. This is incredible. And for bringing student voice to your presentation. I'm just gonna ask that if we could have that music in an email just so that we can blast it, that would be fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got some more giveaways here. We've got another Dream Bank picnic basket. So that is going to go to Megan Minen at the county. Congratulations. Thank you for all your questions in the chat. And then we have from MTI, a Black Lives Matter at School t-shirt, as well as books from Rethinking Schools. Blair Feldham, that is yours. So congratulations. We have one pitch left. I just want to call out that the in-school grocery store team had to back out last minute. We are bummed that they had to pass on this opportunity, but we want to acknowledge their idea and their brilliance and for the time that they spent in preparing their proposal. So our 20th idea is the MMSD Coalition for Leading Anti-Racist Schools. This is geared to start at Henderson Elementary. So Sandra Taylor Marshall, you are up. And I believe you are still muted.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share another big idea this morning. This has been incredibly inspiring. My name is Sandra Taylor Marshall, and I am a professional learning specialist in the Office of Professional Learning and Community Education, also known as PLACE in UW-Madison's School of Education. I'm honored and excited to be here this morning to speak with you about the MMSD Coalition for Leading Anti-Racist Schools. My partners and collaborators from Henderson Elementary include 4th grade DLI teacher, Rachel Bird-Felker, and she's on with us this morning, as well as Principal Ben Ketterer and Student Service Coordinator Sarah Kanivi. My partners and collaborators from UW-Madison include Dr. Anjali Welton, Professor in Ed Leadership and Policy Analysis, and Dr. Lisa Barker from PLACE, who are also on this morning, and then also Christina Stefanik from PLACE. These numbers represent a push out of students of color from our classrooms, which means they miss valuable instruction and learning. The MMSD Coalition for Leading Anti-Racist Schools will empower 25 teacher leaders from across MMSD to think about their students, the work they do in their classrooms, and then put the research, theory, and learning into practice as they engage in classroom action research. These leaders will receive ongoing job-embedded coaching from UW-Madison faculty and staff, collaborate with intra and inter-organizational thought partners, including other MMSD educators and community partners, and go public with their practice, thus amplifying their anti-racist efforts. This year-long coalition will be a partnership activating teacher leadership. UW-Madison faculty and staff will support these educators in a cycle of anti-racist inquiry as they move from individual analysis to systemic and institutional change. They will identify a problem of practice and work through each phase, discover, disrupt, and dismantle. Then they'll move on to a 4th phase that we've created and named Drive, in which leaders will name their commitments and collaborators, identify action steps, reflect on their practices and their data, and consider their next steps, all while continuously evaluating the work to determine whether they are in fact honoring their commitments to racial equity for all students of color. A sample problem of practice might be, how might we increase access and opportunity for Black students in dual language immersion and advanced placement programs? A teacher leader might then ask questions like, whose voices are represented by the policies and processes related to these programs as part of the discover phase? How might the intent versus impact of the programs and policies be evaluated during the disrupt phase? Which policies, processes, curriculum, and instructional practices need to be dismantled and rewritten so they are racially just in the dismantle phase? And then finally, as part of the drive phase, what access to professional learning will educators and school leaders need to build capacity and enact change? And then how are we going to continuously examine the work that we're doing to ensure that we're really honoring our commitment to racial equity? The sustainability and ultimately the intent of this coalition is to build the capacity of MMSD teacher leaders so that they can then facilitate racial conversations, peer-to-peer coaching, and professional learning. And then they will then lead these ongoing anti-racist inquiry cycles once the grant ends. As you can see, the phases of these anti-racist inquiry cycles tie directly to the funds that we're requesting for this coalition, a total of almost $212,000. For example, books to support learning will be needed throughout each of the phases. And in May of 2022, the teacher leaders will go public with their practice, sharing and celebrating their research at a public culminating event. The PLACE production team will be instrumental in publicizing this event, thus continuing the coalition building beyond the schools and MMSD as a district to the greater community. Thank you for your time and attention this morning.
Thank you so much. Really, really incredibly important work. The chat was just fire while you were going. I think as a culmination, there's so much good stuff happening. And a lot of it's about collaboration. And so I think the question is which are the other ideas that you feel like would be good to kind of mash up together in kind of this larger, more transformative work? Which of the ideas did you hear today that you want to partner with?
Definitely Maxine's idea. We've already been in collaboration and talking with Maxine. We have been talking with LeVar Charleston in OEDI at UW-Madison. We have been talking to Erica Turner, who I believe is still on the call at UW-Madison. I'm just looking back at my notes. There were so many things today. Black Girl Magic, I would love to connect with them. I myself just did finish the Nehemiah project, and so have been, connected with that, and I'm looking for other opportunities to maybe connect with that community in terms of, how can we work together and partner. There was I think it was the second presentation on student leadership in anti-racist teaching and civic action. One of the things that we talk about is empowering student voice and choice. And so as part of this work, thinking about the work that teachers do in their classrooms with classroom action research, and then the coaching that we'll provide in the classroom is all about empowering students, and how can we activate their voices and empower them so that they want to be engaged in their own learning and essentially taking over their learning.
All right, and the last question for you and the last question for me, but before I say it, what a privilege it has been to hear and share space with so many really incredible ideas. I'm looking forward to what's next, and I'm gonna do a pitch to the other funders in the room, county, city, AmFam, Roots to Wings, that collaboration requires infrastructure and funding. And so let's think about how we can support that collaboration and not just let it kind of hope that it naturally occurs, but create space and funding to make sure that these ideas are connected. Like what power from it? And last question from Tony is, how many teachers would be a part of this? How can students loop into these phases as collaborators in this process?
Is that question to me still? Yes, okay, my apologies. Initially, we're hoping to partner with 25 teacher leaders from across MMSD. We're hoping to bring on board additional teachers from Henderson, a small team. One of the things that teachers will be doing is creating a racial justice action plan. And so the idea of bringing on, small teams from individual schools And so that they can then collaborate within those teams to create these action plans and then collaborate across the district to see and learn from and talk with. And then we also have another coalition that we are building from across Wisconsin. And so we're thinking about cross collaboration between MMSD and that coalition as well. So think about, you know, how can we move this work forward? And eventually we'd like to, you know, create more cohorts and bigger cohorts and, you know, build the capacity of the teacher leaders within these cohorts so that they too can be part of that facilitation and professional learning process.
Thank you so much, Sandra, and for your fantastic presentation. All right, so that concludes the 19 pitches. I just want to say that this has been an incredible event and opportunity, well beyond my kind of dreams and imagination. I am not only so impressed with the incredible ideas, but the energy, the passion, and the excitement that each of you brought into your pitches. They were fantastic. I know when the ask was 3-minute pitches, the response I got was, you know, big eyes, how are we going to do this? Y'all crushed it. It has been incredible. I also, again, beyond my imagination is how this event has brought together a community of innovators that are through the chat, connecting with each other, sharing ideas. This is exactly what we want to do to create a collective that will transform MMSD and close historical gaps. You are just incredible. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Nathan for moderating the questions and for Grady for mastering the Zoom. So here's the deal. The judges are going to deliberate. They are going to have the very difficult job of deciding the 10 that will be funded. I am glad that I am not one of those judges because this is going to be quite the challenge. We are hoping to announce the winners on Monday, May 17th. So we know that that's some time, but in the meantime, I just hope that each of you can go and celebrate your hard work for making it into the semifinal round. That was a 6% chance. So go celebrate your success and your hard work. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Community members, remember to fill out that Google form. But before we take off, I have one final giveaway. I've got another $25 gift card to Eat Street to enjoy one of Madison's incredible restaurants. And that goes to Maxine McKinney DeRoyston. Congratulations. I will be connecting with all of you. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. And judges, we're going to take a quick break. We'll see you back here in about 5 minutes to kind of talk about next steps and to deliberate.
Thanks, everyone. You guys were awesome.